You are listening to Walking Earth FM. Welcome to Walking Earth FM. I'm your host, Tom Hughes. On today's show, I'm joined by close friend and collaborator Chris Kreuzberg, and we're talking movies. We have a very opinionated discussion on who we think are the best directors working today. And later, we have a fun and funny chat about the movies based on DC superheroes. But before we get there, let's listen to some more original music. This is Walking Earth FM.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I have a hot take for you.
Let's go for it. I can't wait.
I'm welcome it to be challenged,
Okay.
especially because his most recent movie you're not a fan of. I think Denis Villeneuve
Oh,
is the best working director right now.
is the best working director right now.
Hmm.
Okay.
Maybe you can exclude like I guess Tarantino and like Scorsese.
Yeah,
because,
like the people
they're not-
who are already like people who are
they're
like
already established.
yeah.
I mean, not that Denis,
That-
not,
yeah,
but
definitely.
like it's more of like his
the
time.
best is yet to come. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally understand that. I don't agree with that. Give your reasoning, then I'll probably offer another option.
I think Blade Runner 2049 and Prisoners.
Prisoners is a masterpiece.
Yeah, those movies are in like my top 10.
Yeah.
And I think
I haven't seen a lot of Denis' work. I'm just
Okay.
gonna say that.
fair.
I've seen a decent amount.
He
And I
made-
feel like in order to
Yeah.
throw my hat in the ring here. But anyway.
Yeah, he made Arrival as
Yeah.
well. Obviously Dune. I know
Right.
you're not.
I fucking hate them.
I actually I like Dune to an extent. It's not a full movie. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But I think he has established a level of scale in a lot of his like, especially his newer like sci-fi stuff that I just think is just like, to me, like there's like only like a handful of guys that have ever like reached that level. Like he obviously made, I love Blade Runner 2049. I love that movie so much because like the colors, the set pieces, the real like the idea that like a grand sort of scale story of like this guy can or this thing can revelation of an android or whatever giving birth can like solve everything, but yet it's still a personal story about like Ryan Gosling's character Kay of like, am I the one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Am I like what is this for sort of ordeal? The balance that he has between like real personal intimate story
Yeah.
with grand scale, to me, I just think is just amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Almost all of his films.
I think I don't think he's like a bad choice. Like I definitely think you make a very good argument.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, if I were to counter that with somebody else,
Yeah.
I would say Ari Aster, director of Hereditary and Midsommar. Regardless of what you feel about Midsommar,
Mm-hmm.
is that in terms of like the work behind the camera? What do you think about that?
Oh, it's great.
Right?
Yeah.
The how it's really well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Is the script lacking? That's up for debate.
Mm-hmm.
I personally really enjoy it. And obviously, what do you think about Hereditary?
I love that movie actually. I
It's
think it's
great.
one of the better. I think when did that come out? Like
2018.
2018. It's probably easily within like the top 5 like horror movies of that decade.
For sure.
Easily. Easily. Yeah.
I know it's only 2 movies. It's hard to compare Denis and Ari Aster. But because, you know, their body of work
Yeah.
is so different.
But he already has a really good like he every the movies his catalog is not too massive,
Right.
but a very feeling of like disturbed,
Yeah.
and you know he's able to like grab the tension. Like I think in like a scene in Hereditary is when the kid dies,
Yeah.
how that was executed.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's just like
terrifying,
but
but real.
that's under like I feel like only maybe Ari would like have that sort of way of displaying that
Yeah.
sort of disturbing moment, and like how he did it, and like how like the girl's out of focus in the backseat. I remember
Yeah.
it's like that is like a great like directorial decision, sort of. I would say,
I remember that sequence stuck with me for a very long time.
likewise.
Yeah, that was like enough. You know what I mean? That was like too much. But that's why he's kind of my pick. I think his story. He's already made 2 films that are classics, in my opinion.
Fair. Yeah.
You
I
know,
disagree, but fair. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, do you think Hereditary could be a classic?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. So he's at least made one classic.
He's made one. Yeah.
You know what
Sure.
I mean? And I would also say that the best of his work is ahead of him. I think that he has an incredible future. And I think, you know, there's a lot. I think with Denis, while he's great, he really is. Again, Prisoners is phenomenal. There's no denying that. That is one of the most, like, not a lot of people talk about that movie.
Oh yeah.
And they should be.
The performances in that movie are just
oh my God, they're incredible. That's Hugh Jackman's best performance.
Oh yeah.
Might be Jake Gyllenhaal's best performance. There's at
Arguably,
least top
yeah.
3. I mean, like, the cinematography is like, you know, it's very matter of fact, but also very, like, you know, it's still beautiful at the same time. The story is fantastic. Obviously, like, speaking of whodunits, you know, it works on every level. It's like it's a freaking masterpiece.
Yeah. That's Deakins, baby. Roger Deakins.
That's Deakins, and that's Denis. Dune Part 1, however.
Yes. Yep.
I
hate that movie.
I cannot stand that piece of shit movie. I cannot stand it. It is the most beautiful piece of dog shit I've ever seen. I just don't. I really like. I don't. I wish I could, like, here's the thing, like, people who like it, that's awesome. You like it, that's so good.
Fair.
I just don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. Unfortunately, explain Dune to me. I don't understand.
I would say the biggest gripe is it's not a complete movie,
Right.
which is, I can understand that point. I just think it's very, like, visceral. Like it like with Denis, he's able to establish his universes really well. I think if you, like, rewatch, like, the beginning scene where, like, Oscar Isaac is, like, eventually, like, they send him to the planet, like, you see the very purposeful like, looks, like, the political looks for some of the characters. I can't, like, name them all. They all have, like, different names and all. But, like,
one of them is named Paul.
Well, there's Paul.
Yeah. Epic.
Yeah, it's just that. Yeah.
And who's the hero of our story?
Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul.
Original. Huh? But I think it kind of, like, in the same vein as Blade Runner, of just really establishing a sci-fi universe that you're just kind of like, yes, you're just in it. And
he is very what's the word that he pulls you into his worlds. Very his films are very immersive.
Very immersive.
Yes. Even Prisoners, which is, like, takes place in the real world, but like, it is so real that you're like, is this like a true story?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
He is really good at that. I'll give him that for sure. And definitely the sound design in Dune helps a lot too. It is really cool. The score is really cool as well.
I would say as well, I really like how many just great actors are in the cast.
Yeah.
That they
do, like, their most mediocre work.
Fair enough. I would just say, like, just having a lot of these. I'm not a big fan of. We're both not big fans of Timothy, but
whatever.
Everyone else, they're just kind of like, when they're just in the scene and they're just interacting with each other. It's just, to me, it's just cool, man. I don't know, like,
Jason Momoa is great.
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Brolin was so underused in that.
Yeah, he was.
And, like, I feel like,
but he was cool when he was there.
He was cool when he was there. You know, like, and I guess a lot of, you know, here's the thing, like, a lot of the problems might be able to be solved in part 2.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though, like, I'm so disinterested in part 1, I'm probably not going to go see part 2.
Okay.
And that's the thing, like, you know, you can let me know how Dune Part 2 is.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this just, like, they really, like, soured the taste for me wanting to go see it. It also sucked my viewing experience because I saw it in the theater in the front row.
Oh, dude.
Which, the front row for any movie is the worst place to be. And especially for this movie, because it's so huge. Like, just the picture is so huge, and you want to, like, see everything in the frame. It especially didn't work. It definitely took me out of it. But yeah, it just didn't work for me.
That's fair.
But back to the topic at hand. Denis is a great director. He was a great director. He directed that movie to the best of his ability.
Yeah.
The shots are fantastic. But they're I think the script was lacking.
I think,
and I think the performances for the most part were lacking.
if I'm not mistaken, I think the same cinematographer is on Dune as Batman.
Yes, Greg Fraser.
Greg Fraser.
Yeah.
That guy.
He should be getting
he does.
an award or a nomination for this.
That guy is on one.
Yeah,
That guy is.
he's fantastic.
That guy's really good. Yeah.
Hey, it's feeling real. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, don't make me wait. Hey, it's feeling real good, baby. Oh. Hey, don't make me wait. Hey, oh. Hey, don't make me wait. It's feeling real good, baby. Oh, don't make me wait. It's feeling real. Oh, don't make me wait. It's feeling real good, baby. Oh, don't make me wait. Don't make me wait. It's feeling real good, baby. Oh, don't make me wait. Don't make me wait. It's feeling real good, baby. Oh, don't make me wait. Don't make me wait. It's feeling real good, baby. Oh, don't make me wait.
What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
Oh man.
That movie is classic. We should
That's
do
great.
a commentary track on that movie.
Oh, dude, that movie. You could just talk about it for hours.
I
dude.
lo-
It's such a great movie.
I rewatched it like
So
a few months,
stupid.
maybe over the summer. It is like so funny. It is so funny. It is like hilarious.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. I love watching that.
What I
movie.
love about that movie is it's not like other bad movies. We had this conversation where
Yeah.
I would much rather go to a complete dog shit film.
Train wreck. Yeah.
There's completely off
Yeah.
the rails that you can laugh and make fun of
Yeah.
than like a mediocre bore fest where
Agreed.
just nothing happens.
Agreed. Because at least when it's a bad, shitty movie, at least that's getting a strong reaction out of me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if it's a great movie that's getting a strong reaction out of me, if it's a bad movie, it's giving a different reaction, but still a strong reaction.
Yes.
A middle of the road movie, I'm not gonna watch that shit. You know,
Yeah.
something I'm not gonna remember. I don't really, like. At least if it's a bad movie, I'll remember it.
Mhm.
You know, what are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
You know, it's like
oh man,
you know,
that movie is.
yeah. Do you have
Same.
any hot takes on that movie?
I would say, ooh, hot take. I would say that the new one, The Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
might be my favorite of the new era DC movies of that
Oh.
universe.
That is a good hot take.
Because think about what is it
Would
competing
you
against?
would you include the Batman in that?
No.
Because it's separate
Because
from
it's
the
separate universe, yeah.
Okay, yeah. In that case, I would actually agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's a hot take, and I think I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Wonder Woman. I think it's
Yes.
better. I think it's better than Aquaman. I had a good time with Aquaman, but I think it's better than Aquaman.
It's stupid. It's silly, but
Yeah.
it knew what it was.
Aquaman, you're talking about?
Yeah, Aquaman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was like a wacky,
Mhm.
bombastic adventure movie.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a good time. I think I saw it in 3D. It was great. The one scene I was like, "What the fuck?" was when they played Pitbull as they were exiting the ocean. Going, do you remember that scene? I was like, "What the fuck?" That was like the one moment, like everything I was like totally on board with, like even the octopus playing the drums. But the fuck when they played Pitbull walking out the ocean, I was like, "What is going on?" Like it was at that point. It was like Mr. Worldwide. I was like, "Nope."
What is going
on? Like now I am lost.
Uh-huh.
But because that was like the one moment they put in a pop song, and I was like now, like
Yeah.
they're just walking. I was like,
So
it
bizarre.
turned into a Pitbull music video for 25 seconds, and I was the most confused
Yeah.
I've been in the entire movie.
Uh-huh.
But that's a good topic. What do you think about Shazam?
I think it kind of is in the same boat as Aquaman. Kind of like that silly. You can just watch it. It's watchable.
Yeah,
It's
I would-
fun. There's
yeah.
fun to be had, but it's not necessarily like, it's not a great movie.
Yeah,
by any
watchable. It definitely more leans more toward middle of the road for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything special. I mean, I would have liked it to have been a little more wacky,
Yeah.
but it was what it was. Like, I think it was the movie that was needed at the time for DC because they had so many shitty movies,
Mm-hmm.
and that up until that point, I think the original Wonder Woman's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wonder Woman 1984, I couldn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 30 minutes in, and I was like, oh, I thought I was 2 hours into this.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't finish that.
Although I will say, maybe another hot take, I do think that first Wonder Woman movie is a bit overrated.
Yeah,
In
I mean, it's
retrospect.
not. Yeah, it's
I
not
think-
the
yeah.
second coming for sure.
It's far from it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I think the sequence when she walks into the war zone is really cool.
Yeah, no, there's great.
Yeah.
It's a
I think
good
it's shot
movie.
well. I think
It's
it's
shot
it's
well.
colored well.
It's competently held,
Yeah.
but to say it's like DC's savior,
Mm-mm.
no.
I
think,
like Man of Steel better than I like that movie. To be
I would
honest with
say so as well.
you. I think Man of Steel is pretty underrated in my opinion.
I would actually agree with that. Yeah.
I think like people give it a lot of shit for literally no reason.
Well, I think I remember that movie came out like 2013.
Yeah.
So I was 13 at the time. I remember being really taken back by how like little action there was, and like how
except for the
late-
end
Yeah,
when it was all action.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
the movie was literally like, for what was it, like 2.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
The first hour and 30 is kind of like slow paced, nothing.
Yeah.
And then the last hour is just all action,
Right.
just completely nonstop,
Yeah.
like ridiculous CGI fest of just the most crazy destroying buildings stuff ever.
Definitely.
And I thought that was a little jarring, even as a 13-year-old, being like, "What the
Yeah.
hell?" But I really like I like Henry Cavill as Superman though. He's Superman, man.
I was just thinking about Batman versus Superman the other day, and I was just kind of like, oh yeah, they kill Superman in this movie. I was like, I kind of like had to remind myself like, oh, that's right. Like
Yeah.
they literally kill the godfather of superheroes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like they literally kill him in the second
movie that he's in.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, whose idea was this? And like,
Yeah.
I get it. And then like the plan was, oh, we're gonna resurrect him in Justice League. Then I was like, why? Like,
Yeah.
what was the
Then
point?
it's unnecessary.
Yeah, like, what is the point here? Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't. That was a weird decision.
You can really sense with that movie. Like you really need to put in the context, the cultural time period of it being was like 2016.
Yeah,
Like how much the DC creators at the time felt like they were comparing themselves to Marvel.
yeah,
They really like jumped like a lot of steps ahead.
yeah,
A lot. Like killing Superman, like you mentioned in the second
Yeah.
film, you're just jumping ahead because they wanted to get to Justice League.
Yeah.
They wanted that. Like, they wanted that to compete with the Avengers.
Exactly.
But that shot him in the foot.
I mean, you can do that. You could definitely do that. They just didn't do that the right way.
Not at all.
Like, you can definitely have you can start out with a Justice League movie.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, X-Men started out as the X-Men. You didn't have Wolverine, and then they went into an X-Men movie. They started out as X-Men. There's a way to do that. Granted, they focused on specific characters, but you can do that with Justice League. You can have 5 members of Justice League and make it an ensemble piece.
Yep.
But like I don't know what they were thinking. Like, why killing Superman? Like, why would you do that? Like, off the rip? Like, why would that be his second movie
I don't know.
where he dies?
There's so many questionable decisions with that movie. That movie deserves a watch along as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, it does. We should. I want to see the director's cut as well.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it's like a lot better.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
It puts a lot more context into a lot of scenes, I heard.
I'm sure.
'Cause there was a lot of subplots in that movie that just led to absolutely nothing.
I don't know why they gave Lois Lane an entire story.
so
Like, I'm paying a ticket to see a movie called Batman versus Superman, and Lois Lane has more screen time than Superman does. Like, how the fuck does that work?
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about Jesse Eisenberg playing Jim Carrey in that movie. I love bringing people together.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not to pick a fight with this guy.
You do not want to pick a fight with this man.
That's so stupid. Oh, that's a strong grip.
That is a strong grip. You do not want to pick a fight with this person.
It's so stupid.
Dude, what a fucking... That was a weird...
That's a mess.
I don't know why... A lot of my statements about this movie are beginning with, I don't know why. I don't know why you cast Jesse... Because the casting for that movie, like Ben Affleck, people were questioning it. He did a great job as Batman.
Yeah. Great.
A lot of people were questioning... Like, the casting for that movie was, like, great. And then it's like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. It's like, okay, where are you going with this?
You just broke the illusion.
Yeah, because that could hypothetically work. It could work if you go with an interpretation of Lex Luthor that's young and he's just starting out. Maybe it's like a thing where, like, his dad who owned the company just, died and he's inherited this insane empire and he's become power hungry and all this kind of stuff. What they didn't do that. What did they do? Like, I'm not even sure, like, what was the, I want to be a fly on the wall in the meetings between Zack Snyder and Jesse Eisenberg and telling him, like, this is what we're going for. Yeah, I was like, we're going for Jim Carrey on cocaine. And we're going to give you a wig that you're going to wear for the whole movie.
Yep.
That's going to be long hair because, Lex Luthor's supposed to be bald.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that to you. We're going to give you hair.
Yeah.
And we're going to make you look like an absolute fucking fool.
I honestly have no idea. I really think, like, I remember when the casting was announced, the meme of, like, we wanted Heisenberg.
Yeah, not
instead we got
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg.
Dude, yeah.
Like, that was, like, actually,
That was
like,
such
a thing. If I felt like, because, like, I mean, it would have been a completely different movie if, like, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston as
was
Lex
Lex
Luthor
Luthor.
would be, oh my God, that would be Sex Luthor.
That would have, yeah, exactly. Dude, that would have been the die.
That would have been, that is like perfect casting.
Yeah, it was literally right in front of them.
Yeah.
But they were just like, no,
He
we
was
want to
bald-
go
He was
a different
bald and
direction.
everything.
Yeah, he was bald. He's
Yeah.
bald,
Yeah.
man.
Like, that's like the minimum requirement for Lex Luthor. But they did Jesse Eisenberg. That was very strange. And then, like, if that version of the DC universe continued, then that would have been, like, we would have had to put up with that Lex Luthor for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
I would have hated that. big thank you to Chris Krusberg for joining me. I hope he makes a return to the show very soon. And thank you for listening. It's been a blast. Come back next week for more discussions and original music. Walking Earth FM is produced and edited by me, Tom Hughes. This concludes today's broadcast.